All right, guys, welcome back to the Challenge Ride or Dies recap. This week, we're on episode 6. Obviously, last week, I missed. Let you guys know, though, so I was in Florida, and apologies for the way I sound today. Got a little sick from the hurricane that was happening in Florida, so we're working through that. But we're here to recap another episode of the Challenge. And, of course, the one that I missed, some big shit happened. We had some big names thrown into elimination. And so at the end of last episode, Laurel and Jack won the elimination. Jay went against his friendship with Jack that we had saw forming, and it is definitely going to be drama going into this episode. So to start the episode off like right away, we get Olivia comforting Laurel over what happened. And then they basically just cut right to them going out, which I didn't even know that they really went out in between like an elim and a daily. I thought they usually go out after dailies, but apparently they're going out way more, or they just never really air that. It was just something they wanted to show. So basically we get a couple different heart-to-hearts between some ride or die teams. We see Jordan and Anissa and Bananas and Nani all having like these very heartfelt moments, and I think it's just something that they kind of wanted to show given the way that some of the rest of the episode plays out. So then we cut to the next day, and Jack is working out, talking about how this is his place of meditation, and Jay comes in, and Jack starts taking digs at Jay, but for some reason Jay thinks like it's playful, and that they're going to rekindle some friendship, and at least they're speaking, whatever. But Jack, in confessionals, we get pretty much saying, no, he 100% means what he's saying, and Jay is absolute garbage. So, Laurel says that Horacio was talking to someone else before he came onto the show. And we've already kind of seen their relationship developing so far. But she decides she's going to move out of the room because her feelings are just too strong and she doesn't want to get hurt. And so then Olivia and Horacio are talking about the same situation. And he says that he didn't mean to hurt her, but he definitely cares about her and doesn't want to lose her. And that's pretty much all the information we get before the daily, but it will lead into the rest of the episode. And even from some of the previews from the last couple episodes, we know that that's what this is kind of setting up for. But so we get into the daily, which is called Down the Line. So what happens is they start across the field, and the teams run out to a colored spot, and they begin digging for puzzle pieces. Once they get the first bag, one partner can take off to a zip line where they start kind of cranking to move a ball down the line, so that once the second bag is gotten, that person can then zip line down as far as they have it cranked out. And if it's not far enough, then they just hit the water and they have to swim farther. So that is, then both team members reconvene down the line, and they have to solve the puzzle, and the first team to solve the puzzle is the winner. So in the first heat, everyone takes off. Devin is the first one to get the second bag, and so he's the first one to get to the platform, but Bananas and Nani are right behind them. Devin and Tori are already working on the puzzle at this point, though, by the time they get down there, and then everyone else is still looking for their second bag. So the one partner has basically already cranked this ball all the way out, and they're just waiting on their partner now to show up so they can get to the next stage of the challenge. Bananas starts like just being Bananas and joking around, but Nani for some reason is stressed out and just not having it. And they kind of get into, I wouldn't even really say an altercation, because it's more just Nani like getting angry and Bananas just kind of laughing it off and whatever. But we do get a different perspective of him in the confessionals, because he's angry that she's doing this in front of other teams. He's like, it's one thing to be mad at me, but to openly do it where other teams can see it, that's kind of when it becomes a problem. So Fessy finally gets his bag, then Jordan, then Jay, and Laurel is still struggling to find her bag. Jack kind of hints that because of the Horacio stuff and how they just came out of elimination, that her head's just kind of all over the place, and maybe she's not in the game. And so everyone else is down at the puzzles working on them. Devin and Tori have one word left, and they cannot figure it out. Jay figures it out that it's amigo, and he was the only one to like put a Spanish word together. It's basically all these different words to do with teams, ride or dies, pairs, like just all of these different terms that essentially are talking about being a partner or a team. And so they win the first heat. And then heat 2, Laurel never found her bag, by the way. She never even got to the puzzle. So I don't know. They are struggling. So heat 2 starts off a little bit quicker. Nelson and Horacio are the first ones to the platform. Amber then gets hers. Jarrell gets his. And then Casey's now struggling to find her bag. I don't know, like, what's up with these? They're just digging. Like, it's straight down. Just find the shit. Like, I guess sitting here, it's easier for me to say that than if I'm there. But I saw other people find it so fast. It was just very strange to me that certain individuals took so much longer. Like, Laurel never even found hers. Like, how hard can it really be to dig for this bag? But regardless, she finally gets it, and now it just comes down to who can finish this puzzle the fastest. This one's a lot quicker. There's not as much to show at the puzzle, so they just cut right to it, and Horacio and Olivia end up taking the second heat. This is a team not to be reckoned with here. Like, they are really proving themselves in their rookie season, and I'm really excited to see where they go from here. So Jay and Michelle win the whole thing, go back-to-back on dailies now. Laurel and Jack, just their faces drop because they're just an easy target to put in now because it's getting less blood on their hands. At this point, you're putting in like a third of the house, so it's just easier to go with names you've already said. Since the house did come down on them so hard last week for not putting in Bananas and Nani, Bananas is pretty nervous. He pretty much knows, like, this is worst case scenario for me. Even Jay kind of says that he didn't really want to win because it puts a bigger target on their back, and then he has to make this decision again. So it's just not something he really wanted to deal with. But Michelle and Amber are talking, and Amber hints that she wants them to put up Devin and Tori. But apparently, Michelle and Devin made a one-day deal. Like, they said, hey, if you win tomorrow, I'm not going to come for you if you don't come for me. And so they make this one-day deal, which it seems weird to me. Even Amber's like, you're just spreading yourself too thin. You're doing too many deals. Like, you're playing too hard out here. And I would have to agree. Michelle is playing awfully hard. We'll get into Michelle because I'm over Michelle, honestly. So they sit down, Jordan and Anissa, and Jordan says that they're with them. Like, we'll work with you guys. Essentially, the reason that you put us down here last week was because you wanted to see where we stand and try to work with us. I'm telling you right now that I'll work with you. Like, don't put me down there again. And they're like, well, it's kind of just easier to put you down there. Like, we're not gunning for you, this and that, whatever. And Jordan's like, look, it's not tit for tat. I'm not coming for you guys. But if you keep saying my name, then I'm going to have to come for you. In the deliberation, like figuring out who the 4 teams are going to be, Jay calls Chauncey and Amber dead weight, which Chauncey and Amber really haven't done anything this season. We really haven't get any screen time from either one of them, really, and she's a challenge champ. But it is just interesting to kind of see that perspective. I feel like it's probably going to play out in the future. They didn't show just that one sentence for nothing. But he essentially wants to pick people who are going to save each other so that it automatically makes Bananas and Nani have to face off against Laurel and Jack. But the 4 nominations they go with definitely do not do that at all. They end up putting Laurel and Jack, Bananas and Nani, Jordan and Anissa, and Casey and Kenny. So obviously, unless Bananas is number 1 getting thrown in, then they're going to save Casey, and Casey's going to save them. Like, they're girlfriends. That's just how it's going to go. So it's not the play. If that's really what you wanted to happen, go head-to-head. But I feel like he's playing this weird game where, like, he wants to save Bananas, but he doesn't want to look weak. I don't know. But anyway, in interrogation, Laura's trying to talk herself out of being the target. They actually seem like it's an option, but then when they go to talk to everyone else, they're basically saying, hey, you're down here so you can save yourself. We're throwing in Laurel and Jack. Like, we want a big team to take them out. Like, they're making it seem like Laurel and Jack are the number 1 target, and they just want them gone. They're getting thrown in. Whoever else goes in, sorry about your luck, but you're basically just having to do our dirty work because they're the ones who are going to continually come for us now because there's bad blood there. So Jordan actually calls Jay out for being weak, basically says, you didn't answer your word. Like, it is what it is. Like, I'm coming for you now. So if I come back, just know I'm coming for you. And so it kind of sways Jay and Michelle to where Jordan and Anissa would be the target. But with the whole Jack situation, it's kind of hard to tell what they're actually going to do. They kind of seem like emotional players. So, like, it's not going to be super hard to sway them one way or the other. But it's pretty much just who's going to piss me off more in the moment, you're going in. Like, I don't know. I don't like that type of gameplay. Like, let's have some strategy here. And this whole 4 teams didn't seem very strategic to me. If you really wanted one of them gone, then don't put in someone who's going to save them. It just doesn't make sense to me. So Nani basically sits down Bananas and acts like him messing around is why they lost. He says that he didn't want to win yet because he doesn't want to have to go ahead and get this blood on his hand and have to say 4 names because he's obviously going to have to go against someone who is close to him or who's in an alliance with him. It's just at that point in the game now with putting in 4 teams, it's inevitable. But he does say he will give his max effort from here on moving forward. Back to relationship drama. Fessy pulls Laurel aside, says that he's wanted to talk to her for a while, but hasn't wanted to be disrespectful to Horacio. I'm calling BS on this one, Fess. Colleen's gone. She just went home. You weren't talking to Laurel because Colleen was there. He says he's not trying to be messy this season, but it just seems to find him. Again, BS. You know exactly what you're doing here. And so they're just kind of laid up, and he asks if she hugs Horacio this way. Obviously, she doesn't, and Horacio sees him, though, and openly admits he's jealous of the situation. I don't really know what's been going on in the back end. We don't really see a lot of it, but obviously they have a deeper connection than just like the little chit chats that we get. Michelle ends up walking in on Nani and Laurel, who are talking about Michelle, and basically just asks them if they're okay. Nani, being Nani, doesn't hold back, basically just says, no, I'm not okay. You know I'm not okay. I don't know why you're coming in here trying to be friendly. And this is where my main issue with Michelle comes in. Like, you're playing the game too hard. You want to hold on to all of these relationships that you don't even really have. Like, you're trying to play this good guy card when, like, you just need to make your moves, stand behind your moves. Like, I understand the reason she's doing her moves. And they would play a lot better if you just acted like you did them for a reason. Like, stop trying to play it off like, oh, I feel bad, I feel guilty, whatever. So, I don't know. It's not possible in this game, and I just can't with her anymore. Like, okay, play the game. Stop crying. Stop trying to please everybody. She's crying to Jay, and then Jay's crying about how good it is for her to open up to him as a teammate. And I can't wait for someone else to win next week because I'm over the dynamic. Like, this whole Jay and Michelle thing, it's 2 weeks too long. Let's cut it. Let's get to the next one. So at the zone, they actually do go ahead and put in Jordan and Anissa as the main vote. Bananas and Nani get to pull the dagger first, and they pull safe. They make it seem like it's a tougher decision than it is, but obviously we knew that they were going to go with Casey. Bananas actually sounds like he doesn't want to go that way, which I believe he doesn't. He doesn't really have a relationship with Casey personally, but he does with Laurel. But obviously he backs his partner, and they save Casey. So it's Laurel and Jack versus Anissa and Jordan. And they're playing the elimination in your face. Basically, you have to move these cinder blocks from one platform to another. Once you move them all, balls will release, and you throw them into the faces of your opponents that are like on this wall across from you. The first one to smash all of those faces out wins. So Jordan and Anissa beast the cinder blocks. Like, they're taking 4 at a time to Jack and Laurel 2 at a time. Like, 4 at a time each. Anissa's carrying 4, Jordan's carrying 4. And so they get over there way faster. I thought that Laurel and Jack would see this and maybe take the same strategy, but they don't. So all of their balls get released. Jordan just starts nailing these things. Like, it's Jordan. I don't know why this stuff surprises me or anyone anymore. Like, he's good at everything he does, but he just starts smashing them. And Laurel's putting up a good fight, but Jack's not really blocking them. Anissa's starting to block them. And so Jordan is on his last one, looks right at Jay, says, "What did I say?" Calls it on some Babe Ruth shit, throws the ball right through the last one, wins the elimination. Laurel and Jack obviously said they're going home, but she asked him, "Will you fuck them up for me, please?" And I'm just excited to see how the game pops off. Jay and Michelle have so many strong teams coming for them now that I don't see any way that they avoid going in. They've also lied to a few teams, and that got around the house. We saw what happened with Annalise and Tommy when that happened. The whole house was against them. So I think they're in a bad spot. I don't really know who their close alliances are. Amber and Chauncey haven't won anything. I don't even know if they're cool with Horacio and Olivia. Couldn't tell you. But I think that this is where the vets are about to turn it up and really take the game over. So I'm just excited to see how it plays out. It's no secret I've been enjoying this season. One of the better ones in a while. And it's just getting ramped up more and more. So we'll see what happens next week. I will be in Ohio next week. So I'm honestly not 100% sure if I'll have another one of these again or not. So stay tuned. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. No promises there. But as always, subscribe to the channel. Leave this video a like and a comment to help boost the algorithm. And if you need any supplements, hit up BPN below. And I'll see y'all next week. Later.